Hey guys, it's Bill. Am I the only person that feels like I've been losing a lot of interest in games lately? I mean, I know interest changes as people age, and I know people don't like the same things throughout their whole lives, but I really just can't help but feel like the quality of video games in these last 5 years has just dramatically dropped. Like, the Nintendo Switch is a revolutionary console. I know it's just basically a diet PSP, but still, it's pretty revolutionary, and no matter how normal it is, and no matter how many NFT nerds talk about the metaverse, I will still think VR is super cool. But besides those two and a couple more major advancements, it really just seems like video games have been moving backwards. I feel like just because of how often they were released, any year they released game was the first to really show this trend. You know, games like 2K, Madden, FIFA, Call of Duty. And at first, a lot of people really did think it was just Burnout from having yearly releases. I remember in the mid 2010s, there was this big push by the Call of Duty community just telling Activision, please, just take a year off or something. It's okay, just get your stuff together. After we had gotten Call of Duty Ghosts and Advanced Warfare back to back. And it's not like they're the only studio that had to deal with stuff like that. I remember after the disappointment that was Madden 18, a lot of the Madden community was telling Madden to just take a year off for the sake of the game's improvement. I mean, there hasn't been a half decent Madden since 13 or 25. There hasn't been a good 2K since 2K16 or 2K14. There hasn't been a decent Call of Duty in God knows how long. And I feel like as a whole, the gaming community agrees that games just aren't moving at the same pace they were 10 years ago. I mean, if you rewind and look at it, Black Ops 2 and GTA 5 are both going on 10 years, and look at the marvels that they are. Even when they came out, we really were in awe of just how much content was packed into these games and how much incredible things were in. Black Ops 2 was the first Call of Duty to have any form of choices in the campaign besides Cold War, which were both developed by the same studio. The zombies was incredible, and the multiplayer was beloved by everybody. Generally speaking, it's probably one of the top 3 multiplayers in regards to what people think about it. And I don't have to explain to you why GTA 5 is incredible. It's a damn near racing simulator game that you can rob in. It has like how many different songs, how many different stations. At the time of those games coming out, people were genuinely impressed with how far games had come. Knowing that HD games had really only become a staple maybe 5 or 6 years before both Black Ops 2 and GTA 5 had come out, and knowing that they both came out looking that good and still having that much content is absolutely incredible. If we fast forward to the modern day and we look at games like Madden, 2K, and FIFA, one thing that really sticks out as opposed to 10 to 15 years ago is the fact that there's almost no competition. 2K doesn't make football games anymore, and EA doesn't make NBA Live anymore. And because of the monopoly they have, if we want to buy a sports sim game, we have to either buy it for them or just not have one, or go through the trouble of having to update a roster on an older football game that we like. If you think it's just a sports game issue, you can look on over to Call of Duty because it's also a yearly release. But ever since SOCOM Medal of Honor died, Call of Duty has really had the military casual shooter genre on lock, especially considering the fact that Battlefield hasn't really been competing well. Taking all this into account, you really have to ask yourself, would GTA 5 genuinely have been that good if Saints Row wasn't still hot on their tails? Because looking at all the rest of this, I feel like that's one of the things that fueled it to be such an incredible thing. Competition is the thing that makes these games so memorable. To make matters worse, it feels like video games becoming mainstream in the way that they have is also going to hurt this issue, because these video game studios can just crank out anything, and the majority of consumers, or the majority of buyers, haven't been around playing video games for these last 10 years and don't know that they released a better game 10 years ago for the same price. And it's not just that. As video games get more popular and more mainstream fans flood in and start consuming it like regular media, like movies and TV and so on, we're going to start noticing that things have gotten a lot more commercial. Madden has gotten a lot more simple. Call of Duty has gotten a lot more simple. And I don't say this to tear down casual fans or tear down the fact that video games became mainstream. I'm not here to gatekeep. I think the fact that video games became popular is incredible because for a period in time it really was helping video games improve. But I feel like another thing that comes with mainstream and casual fans being bigger purchasers of video games is the fact that now game studios can just ignore hardcore fans. If you were playing or if you remember video games back in 2014 or 15, there was a big push for futuristic games with games like Advanced Warfare and Titanfall, and the gaming community as a whole did not actually want this push themselves. This was a push that the game studios were trying to push onto us. And we responded, and as a result, we got games like Battlefield 1 and like Call of Duty World War II. And I'm not going to act like World War II was good, but what I will say is that we would not have gotten a game like Battlefield 1 if they were not forced to listen to hardcore fans. Because nowadays we won't see an occurrence like this considering that they can just ignore us and we won't buy the game, but they'll just have their sales from casuals instead to replace us. So what would the solution even be? Obviously, video games aren't going to stop being mainstream, so the problems that stem from being mainstream and having to listen to a casual audience aren't going to go away. But the only thing that really could save games is if more competition started sprouting. Because the thing that made video games like Madden 08 good and video games like Black Ops 1 good were the fact that there were good video games like Battlefield 2 and NFL 2K5 breathing right down their necks in case they messed up. I hope games improve no matter what, though. That's been all for me. Thank you for watching. This has been Bill, and I appreciate you guys always. You have a safe one.